Unique constraint in SQL Server. Have you ever wondered or have you ever faced a scenario which it is very difficult to predict? What is the scenario? The scenario is that whenever we are working on any particular database, it is obvious that many of the informations or the data might be inappropriate, might be unstructured, might be unorganized, or might be duplicated. So let me give you an example. For example, if we are creating as a new customer in any e-commerce platform, then it will ask us all the customer details. So knowingly or unknowingly, we might use our friends, we might use our neighbors, we might use our family members' mobile number to again register it as a new customer. Then what's happening in the backend part, the same number is getting repeated twice, thrice. The same email ID is getting repeated twice, thrice, right? So to overcome that problem, we have to create a security. And what is that security? That's a constraint. We call it as a unique constraint. Hi, I'm M. Asif Hussain from KnowHow Academy. What are we going to learn in this video? We are going to learn and understand how to create a table and how to create a unique constraint. We are even going to see how to drop a constraint in SQL Server. By the end of this video, you could be learning and understanding how a unique constraint can be created once if a table is created, and you will also get an idea on how we have to remove the constraint created in SQL Server. So watch till the end. My dear viewers, we already know that as a part of the constraints we have primary key as well. The general condition of a primary key is that a table can have only one primary key, but there might be unique keys more than one. But in the same way, a primary key will not allow the null values, but the unique key will allow the null values. So that's a difference between the primary key and unique key that we have to understand. So for an example, let me go and create a small table. So I am creating a table name, let me consider XYZ. So now let me create a column called ID and integer. All right. So now if I'm executing it, the commands completed successfully. So the query got executed successfully. So we did not give any constraint here. All right, we did not give any constraint here. As well, we did not insert any values here. So for this, let me go and fetch the table that we have created. Select a star from XYZ. So if I execute it, we can see that there is a column called ID. So let me insert the values, insert into table name. What I am inserting? I am inserting values. Let me consider 101. I am inserting one value into this table XYZ. So if we retrieve it, we can see that we have 101 here. Alright, so now what happens? If I try to give the 101 as a value one more time, it will accept it. So what's happening? We are getting the repeated ID numbers. Alright, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a constraint. So many of the students or many of the people who are newly learning SQL Server, they may get confused how to create a constraint after the table is executed. After the table is executed. So for that, we have to use the command called alter. We have to use the command called alter. So what's here? Alter table name. Then what were we adding? We are adding a constraint. What is the constraint name? With the unique constraint and the column name we have to give it. So let's work on it. So alter table. What is my table name? My table name is XYZ. Add. What am I adding? I am adding a constraint. Okay. Let's consider any constraint name. Okay. Unique constraint. This is what my constraint name is. So I am giving unique for which particular column? For ID column that I have created. Okay. So now if I execute it, commands completed successfully. Okay. So now let us go and try to insert the 101 value again. What it is telling? It is telling that violation of unique key constraint because it cannot insert the duplicate key in the object. So what unique is doing? It is making sure that every value in the ID column is different. Every number or every value in the column is different and unique. No two values, no two information should be repeated. It should be same. Alright. So for that we are using a unique constraint. As you have seen that it is not accepting the duplicate value. The reason is 101 is already existing in the ID column. So now what happens if I give the another one? Rather than going with 101, I'll give 102. It will happily accept. There's no problem, there's no doubt in it, right? It will happily accept. Select star from XYZ. If I retrieve the table, we can see that in the ID column we have 101 and 102. So there are two values here in the ID column. So now again if I try to retrieve or no, by inserting the table, by inserting the values in the table, and again if I repeat 102 as a value, if I execute it, it will not accept. Again I'll get the same error. Okay. So this is what a unique constraint does. It is making sure that no two values are repeated. It is making sure that every value in the column is different. Okay, it's not repeated. So this is how we have to create a constraint, a unique constraint after we have already created the table. So now let us go and see how to remove this constraint that we have created. So for that we will use the command called alter again, alter table, table name. So if you want to remove the constraint that we have created, so we have to use a command called alter table, table name, drop constraint. And what is the constraint name? That we have to write it. So let's work on it. So here what I am doing, I am using alter table. What is my table name? XYZ is my table name. So what I have to do, I have to drop the constraint that I have created. And what is my constraint name? UNQ is my constraint name. Am I right? So now if I execute it, commands completed successfully. Okay. So now what I'm doing, as I do not have the constraint unique now to my particular table XYZ, I can go and create the same value again. So I'm going and inserting 102 again. Executed. Alright, now you have the duplicate values here 102, 102. Am I right? We have the duplicate values here 102 and 102 because now there is no unique constraint. I have dropped it, I have removed it. Okay. So my dear viewers, in this video we have learned how to create a table, how to insert the values in a table, how to fetch the table, how to create a unique constraint for a particular column. We have also learned how we need to drop the constraint for a column that constraint is created. Thank you for choosing KnowHow Academy as your source for IT knowledge. We are always here to help you to navigate the tech world. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to reach out. It's been a pleasure sharing this information with you. Stay curious and keep learning.